Infinite Filmmakers Release the Genie Within broadcast. My name is Rich Smith. I'm a filmmaker and a spiritual life coach. Today, I wanted to talk about Christ consciousness. That's the consciousness that Christ had when he was raising the dead, healing the sick, walking on water, and all of that stuff, turning water into wine. Water. That's my Boston accent, water. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that. And based upon my teachings, which are the 52 laws and principles of the infinite filmmaker, as you probably already know, I use the metaphor that your life is a movie created by an infinite filmmaker. And there's no limit to what it can create in your movie called life, because this filmmaker that's creating the movie of your life is unlimited in its potential to create whatever it wants to create. And the way it creates it is in and as and through you, through each and every one of us. We are individualized expressions of that infinite, the divine presence, the God consciousness, God, divine presence, Buddha mind, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Today, we're going to talk about it as Christ consciousness. Now, not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to follow along with the belief that Christ was the Son of God. He raised to the, heaven and came back down again to earth and all of that. You don't have to believe any of that. My belief is that he was the great example and not the exception, that what he was teaching us were the lessons that we needed to learn. And actually, people are just getting that now and understanding it through the studies of metaphysics, which is I teach. And so, so we're going to talk about it from that point of view, that from a metaphysical point of view, as if the Christ was the greatest metaphysician that ever lived. And what was his teaching? And how did he use it? And how can we use it in our own life? And that's what I'm going to be able to share with you today. In my metaphor of life being a movie created by an infinite filmmaker, I talk about the Christ as the first assistant director, because he knew more of what the infinite filmmaker wanted for your movie called life than anybody else on the set. He was so connected to what he called God the Father. I call it the infinite filmmaker creating the movie of your life. He was so connected to it that he believed in its infallible laws to be able to create whatever he spoke of and spoke the word for. And so that's what we're going to do today. And towards the end of this, I'll share with you how you can do that through a process that I use. It's a 5-step process that I use that puts you in the consciousness of the Christ so that you can start to manifest things in your life. Now, I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody, and it probably won't, but that's okay. It makes sense to me. And I use it in my life every day and manifest some pretty amazing things. So I'm going to share it with you. You can take what you will and leave the rest behind. You don't have to buy into anything that I'm talking about here. It's totally up to you what you want to believe. I just personally have this belief that I'm working with an unlimited power and presence called the infinite filmmaker that's creating in and as and through me, and it's not withholding anything. And because I have that belief, then anything I ask for when I do the spiritual treatments that I'm going to teach you is it's just done. It's just given to me. And yeah. And so, and I've had so many demonstrations as a result of that. And a demonstration is when you're doing this work for something, you want to manifest something, and you're doing what I call spiritual mind treatments, also affirmative prayer, whatever you want to call it. I call it the secret prayer because not many people know about it. But, the thing is that you can tap into this. You can use the same consciousness that the Christ used. And I'll tell you how this relates to that, because the process that I use has 5 steps where you recognize there's an unlimited power and presence. You unify yourself with it in your own consciousness, that I'm one with that divine presence, and whatever it's creating in and as and through me. It's not withholding anything from me. And I'm in gratitude for all that I have and all that I'm about to receive, believing that I'm going to get exactly what I'm asking for. And I always end my prayer treatment, so this is something better shall come my way, because usually in my case, it's something better than I could even imagine. And it comes in a way that I can't even imagine, kind of a roundabout way. All of a sudden, this thing will appear and I'll go, well, that was weird. I thought it was going to happen this way. And now it came about because of these circumstances. So it's not up to us to decide how it's going to happen, but it is up to us to believe that whatever we're asking for is already given in the mind of the infinite. It already exists. We just have to be able to open up and manifest it. And the way we do that is this 5-step process. With the last step is you release your word. You're speaking the word for the thing that you want. You know, in the Bible, it says in the beginning was the word was with God, and the word is God. And so the words that you speak have the power to create. When you speak them in this way, this process that I just taught you guys, then that puts you in the same consciousness that the Christ was in. He believed in what he called the Father. I call the infinite filmmaker. He believed that it was working through him, that he was connected to it. I am in the Father, you are in me, therefore you are in the Father. And he knew that there was a connection between all of us, that we're all interconnected, that he believed that there's only one thing happening here, and that is that the Father is revealing itself in and as and through everything. It's omnipresent. It's everywhere present, in and as and through everything, even including him. And he believed that. So he believed in this. He believed in it as the Father. I believe in it, and I use the metaphor of a filmmaker creating this movie called Life. And so when you get in that consciousness, then you'll be able to do just exactly what he does. Only we're not at that level of consciousness to be able to do that. You know, he said, whatever I can do, you can do more. He said this to his apostles and to his following. If you say to this mountain, fall into the ocean, and believe it, it'll fall into the ocean. When the centurion come up to him and said, my servant is sick. He's like a son to me, and he's going to die, and I need you to, heal him. And Jesus said, take me to him. And the servant said, no, you don't have to come. I believe that you just have to speak the word and it will be done. He said, I have many soldiers under me, and I tell this sergeant to do this, soldier to do this, or this soldier to do that, and they just follow my orders, and I know it's going to get done. And so that's all you have to do is speak the word. So the Christ spoke the word and said, go, your faith has healed you. I have not seen a greater faith than that of the centurion to be able to, this Roman soldier to be able to have so much faith and belief. And as he left, his servant was healed. And so I believe that we have the same power as that. And I've been able to tap into that a little bit here and there, manifest things using this prayer treatment. And so if there's any questions, you guys can type them in the chat box, and, I'll answer them. Or if you're on Facebook, just tap them into the comment section, type them in, and I'll be able to answer those too. I don't know where else to go with this. I can tell you some stories about how I manifested things. I'll tell you the story about how I manifested a scholarship to USM. I always wanted to go to USM for a spiritual psychology master's degree program, but I never did because I was always a broke, down and out filmmaker, struggling to make it in the entertainment business, and I never had money. But a lot of my friends went there, graduated, and did the program and received the degree. So one time I was out to dinner with a bunch of them, and they were saying, Richard, you should go and get, your master's degree in spiritual psychology. This is right up your alley. And I told them that I didn't think I could do it because I don't have the money, and it's a very expensive course to take. And it takes 2 or 3 years, I think, to go through it all. And they said that, that they give scholarships. They've heard that they give scholarships, and I should check it out. So I went down to the office at the college, and I asked them about the scholarships, and they told me that it's not really the college that gives the scholarships. It's individuals that graduated from there that give scholarships to other individuals to go and take the class. So I didn't know anybody that, was giving money for that. And so I just kind of left it, but I still had the hope and the faith that, the energy is flowing now, that, I spoke with these friends, they talked about it. And I knew that, through my prayer treatments that I'd be able to go one way or another if I just really believed it and focused my attention on it. So I did. And then about a week afterwards, I was invited by a friend of mine to go to this spiritual conscious film and TV group that was getting together, and they were having Jim Carrey come and speak at the event, and they wanted me to shoot the behind the scenes of Jim Carrey, an interview with him. So I volunteered and said, "Yeah, of course, I love Jim Carrey. He's great. He's doing exactly what I, am doing. He understands these metaphysical and spiritual principles. A lot of people think he's a nutcase, but I totally get where he's coming from." And so I went and shot him. And then when I was done shooting the interview, I was leaving and I saw a friend of mine at a booth, and she volunteered. She was selling food or something. But anyways, I went over to her and I started talking to her and said, Mary Grace, I used to know her years ago. And so I said, oh, how you doing? And it was really great to see you and stuff like that. And she said, she asked what I've been up to. And I said, well, she actually graduated from USM with the master's degree program. And I told her that I've been wanting to go and all of that stuff. And I told her I went out to dinner with some friends and they told me that they give scholarships. And I didn't know anybody that gave a scholarship, and her face just dropped. And she just looked at me with this blank stare. And I was like, well, is there something wrong? What did I say? I mean, I couldn't understand why she was just in shock. It's just staring at me. And she said, oh my God, she goes, my husband and I he just mentioned you the other night because we give scholarships to USM for students. And he mentioned that that we should give it to you because it would be something that you would really enjoy and get something out of. And I just was in shock. I'm there. Oh my God, thank you so much. And she ended up giving me a scholarship to the University of Santa Monica. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue with it. I went for 3 or 4 months and I got seriously ill. I was out of work for like 8 months, couldn't walk, needed a walker. I was paralyzed on the side of my face, lost vision in one eye. I had to tape it closed, and lost taste and smell and all kinds of things. It really destroyed me. I was like all paralyzed. One leg was weak and I couldn't walk that well. So I had to use a walker. And I couldn't get to college. I was just dizzy and double vision. It was horrible. It lasted for like 7 or 8 months. So anyways, I had to leave the program and then I never went back to it. But I did manifest it. And, I was trying to figure out why all this happened. And I guess for me, it was answered prayer, because I really at that point wanted to make a deeper connection with divine presence, with God, infinite intelligence. I felt like I was at a level where I just wanted to go a little deeper. And this really did that to me. I was able to just understand being in the moment and what that was like, because I've heard of it. I've read Eckhart Tolle's books, and I understood the whole idea of just being present in the present moment. That's the only moment that happens. I remember watching the movie and also the book Peaceful Warrior, where he talked about it's the journey. At the end of the movie, it's the journey and not the end result that is important. It's the journey along the way. And so because I was paralyzed and I had to like hold on to things and move really slowly, if I was in the kitchen cooking, I usually run around the kitchen, and my wife hates it because I leave pots and pans, and it was just a total disaster, the kitchen, when I was done cooking. But when I got ill, I couldn't move around like that. I had to stop, hold on to something, look over to where I was going, walk over there, grab the vegetables, whatever it was, walk back again, holding on to things because I was dizzy and falling over. And so I really learned to live right in that moment. What am I doing right here? Okay, I'm cutting the vegetables. Focus on cutting the vegetables so you don't cut your fingers off because of my double vision. I had to focus on walking and listening because I only had hearing out of one ear. And so it really made me understand the whole idea of living in the moment and connect with infinite intelligence. And the people that came out and supported me it was just so divine. And I really needed to go through that, I guess, in order to get to the point where I can teach this stuff to you guys and understand it in a way that I probably wouldn't have if I didn't go through that process. And so that's my story. That's one of the ways I manifested. But, it always happens in a way that you don't imagine. I knew it would come. I knew I'd be able to eventually go there. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. And to have my friend just, surprisingly hit me with that scholarship was like incredible for me. Actually, the story goes a little deeper than that, and I'll tell you another time about it. But how when I did get sick, she was able to help me and heal me, and that's why I'm able to do this today, is because I've had a healing, a miracle healing as a result of her. I'll tell you about that later. Okay. I guess that's it. I'll end this program. It's almost half an hour. I usually go for about half an hour. And I did offer, and let me see if I can get that page. I did offer you guys that I would let you in on my coaching program. So if you go to if you go to facebook.com/infinite filmmaker, one word, then you'll get let into my group. I'm going to shut that group down because it's going to be a paid group at some point when I do create out my challenge and my other programs. But for now, you can get in it. And if you're in it, you stay in it. You don't have to pay for the program that I'm going to create. And also, as I'm developing the program, I'm going to be posting stuff on the Facebook page so that you guys can give me feedback on it and see. That way I can kind of like mold the program to whatever you need. And so I appreciate the fact that you guys will give me feedback. And as a gift, I'm giving you this free program when I launch it. So anybody on the Facebook page that's a member now will get, if they give me feedback, will get a free access to the program. You'll have complete 100% access to it all. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining and see you later. Bye.